Is with it. I'm a data engineer, and so now I'm making this video because we can learn the Apache Spark now. Apache Spark is something which is very much in demand, especially with the big datas which are in the markets. And this Apache Spark framework, I would be using the Pyspark, which is available inside the Python. So this would be a great learning for all of us to how we can install it, how we can configure it, how we can start the Spark session, and further how we can perform the data frame operations or the SQL commands, how we can do that. So it is all around like we would be performing our operation on data frames. And here this Jupyter notebook, this is a great tool, a framework available inside the Python. We would be using it, and which would be working on browser, and through that we can execute our script. The little scripts we can use, either like one line of code we can execute instead of we are debugging our code every time and running the code. So let's use the Jupyter notebook and execute all of the transformations available in Apache Spark in Pyspark, and the filters, those methods, transformations we can apply. Snowflake, something like a data warehouse. I will first try to get some data from the Snowflake, like either the JSON data or the CSV files. We can extract it, extract these from using the Snowflake stage, and later we can download those using snowsql get command, and then we would be performing our all PySpark operations. And at last, I have planned like I would be inserting the bulk ingestion I would perform through PySpark to the Snowflake. So those things we will cover one by one. So this is not something like I can finish all the things in one video. So I'm having multiple videos. You can watch my videos. You can subscribe those, and I would be moving uh, further with one by one step. And this would be a great learning if about the Snowflake, this Apache Spark, the Jupyter Notebook, and some Pythons also. So Python, inside the Python we have the pip. Pip is a package manager, and through that we can install the PySpark, we can install the Jupyter Notebook, and we can connect with these things. So guys, yeah, I'm having this. This is our Snowflake sample data. So from here, why not if we can fetch some CSV file, the JSON file, and then I will try to load those files through the PySpark. We will perform many of the operations through the PySpark on JSON file first, and then later I would choose the CSV file, and then I'm planning to insert the data from PySpark to the Snowflake data warehouse, something like that I'm going to perform. So what I'm doing here, because I'm logging this account admin, right? So I'm using this user stage directly. I'm not creating a special stage. And this is my single query here. I'm performing some join between the customer table. There is a customer table here, and this is nation and the reason. Okay, so these are my columns basically which I'm getting there. So currently we have anything? Let's execute this command and see is there anything. No, we don't have anything in this table, so let's execute our command. Once we execute it, so it is showing there are around 1,50,000 records has been inserted. So if I check now, So yes, there are 3 JSON files are here. Okay, so let's come back to our command prompt. I already installed the snowsql using the same Snowflake account. So let me try to log in with my profile as with it. Okay, so it's getting logging. Yeah, it's ready. Okay, so use database. If it is required, you can choose any of the database. So yeah, CV, and that's fine. Why not if we can try if we have anything in our stage. This is a user stage, right? So user stage having these file, and this some other file is just metadata, some other. So to download it, let's use the get command to download this data. So here let's put our file location where you want to put this data. I think you have to write file, then D drive, and then processor data. Here I want to download it. Okay. Yeah. I'm doing, I think after get we have to write the stage name. This is our stage, and slash customer I can write because inside that I created a folder like that. So if I try to execute it, okay, we have the data here inside our D drive data folder, right? So let's go to there, D drive, and this is our data folder. I already have this data before because I downloaded, but anyway, you can do the same thing and can get the JSON data. So, and you can extract that. So I have just like I have this data here. This is our JSON data. It's fine. This is my PyCharm. I was creating some project here. Okay, that's fine. There is nothing related to our development activity this time. That is fine. There is no problem with that. I'm having a data folder here, and what I did, I just copy these data to here. That's it. Okay. So now I would tell you how you would use the Pyspark and those things. Okay. So let's create a command prompt. The command which I'm going to tell you, you have to use those commands. Okay. So first of all, the thing which is required for the Pyspark is Python. So you can check whether you have installed the Python system. If yes, so if no, let's download the Python directly from the browser and install it. Okay, so if this command is working, that's mean the Python is already installed in your machine, is installed. Okay, once you have the Python, you would require the pip. Basically, it's something like a package manager. Through that, you can install like this command we always use, pip install. Okay, and the package name, whatever the package you want to install, like that. So, but before that, it is required your system is having installed this pip. When starting, let's suppose when you do not have the pip, let's suppose if I run the command pip version, so you can see here, okay, this is saying, yeah, we have the this version 22.1. So it is showing 3.7. That's fine because I have both. I have installed both of the version 3.7 to 3.10. So if you are want to install the pip at first time, you will just write Python -m pip install, and just write this command in your system. Currently, I'm using the this Windows operating system, so this command will work here. For if you are working for Linux or Ubuntu system, then you have to use the sudo command. So you can check that on internet and you can use that. Okay, so you have to run this command, and it would say the requirement is already satisfied. Okay, that is fine. Once you have this one, then you have to look into what are other packages required to uh, run these Spark thing and all. And one more interesting thing, I will tell you how to use the notebook. And notebook basically is a package available inside the Python, and today's and nowadays people are using the notebook. It is really good when you want to practice something or you want to make some programs, because with the notebook it is really easy, and you can execute particular steps of function instead of running the application again and again and doing the debug things. So that's fine. So now you have to install the pip install. Let's suppose you are running Pyspark. If you want to install the specific version of the Pyspark, you have to give the version name like that, and you need to execute this command. I already installed the Pyspark before, so you can install this Pyspark in your machine. Once this Pyspark is ready, then I think few of things you need to set up in your environment very well. Let me check. This is the Hadoop home. Okay. Yeah, in case of you are getting some error related to Hadoop, like you have to be use the WinUtil libraries, then you can download that WinUtils at least 2.7.1. You can download it from internet. This is the GitHub URL, and from there you can directly download this folder. This is having this 2.7.1, 2.8.1 like that. So what is this actually? While this is Spark run, it also asks for the Hadoop library to process the data. Whenever the data is processing, this data is spilling happening and some other operations. So in those cases, PySpark use the Hadoop libraries. So that's the reason it asks for the Hadoop library, and I have set up the same thing here. You can see under the D drive Spark. So if I open here under the D drive Snowflake, this one, this is my library, I think. Yeah, yes, this one. So I'm giving that path to that file actually. Yeah, yeah. Okay, that is fine. That is exactly fine. Now let's you have set up it. Other than that, I don't think you would need anything else to set up for this process this time. That is fine. It is also required and always required your system is having the Java in your system. Your system have been installed with the Java, right? So if I run the Java command, so I hope I should get some version here. Let me check. Yeah, Java is here. Okay, we have the Java with our machine. That is fine. Okay, now all these things are fine. Now whatever I'm telling you, please note down it. You have to run next command, that would be the Python, and sorry, not Python, because there is no use of the Python now. There is a use of the pip now. So What I had actually, because I normally playing with these folders, so either you can go inside a folder somewhere and you can directly use the pip there, just like I used here, and I use the simple command which I'm writing, pip install notebook. That's it, nothing else. So once you will run the pip, you will execute the pip install notebook. It will take some time to execute, and once it get installed, the packages has been installed in your machine, then you would execute a new command that would be the python -m, and you would say notebook. Okay, so let me execute this command here. I am stopping it for the time being. I stopped it, right? So that's what I'm saying, like, because we have a folder here and I have moved those CSV files here just to execute the CSV file through the Pyspark, and further we can perform the operation using our data frame and using the SQL. So I have put here in some folder. Just don't think like I have some project folder or something. You can say like this is some libraries I am having. Okay, so this is just a folder. So inside the folder I'm using the this PyCharm here. That is not necessary for it. You can directly use your command prompt. There is no problem with that. Okay, so if I am writing the command py, because I have installed that notebook already, now I'm just writing. Okay, once I execute it, it will run a local host for us, and you can see here we have the this Jupyter has been started, right? And you can see these are the things we are having here. It's taking that some folder structure basically, and this is the same folder. If you open the this data, so it's having those files as well, right? Okay, or I think it is having a different folder structure here, or the same. Let me check it. This is data assigned the 3 only. Let me go inside this explorer. Okay, where is this running exactly? Yeah, let me go inside that. Okay, here we are. Yeah, here this is taking out this path actually. That's right. Inside. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So I can start my notebook then. So let's start the notebook. So here my notebook has a start, which is a called Jupyter notebook, right? So this is showing us the same structure which is we having. If you can see here, here I open it, and this data, all things it's coming. Okay, so inside the data I'm having this JSON file. So let's play with this. Let's use this file which is having around 18 MB file, so it's having enough records to play. It's having around 1,50,000 records, the customer record which we just extracted from there, right? So Pyspark we already installed in our system, and opening a new file here which is untitled file, and let's start from here then. So let's check whether we have first of all, let's write the required package which are required to use. and let's import the SparkSession. Okay, and then let's create a Spark object using the SparkSession. So what I'm going to do is this SparkSession dot builder dot app name, and the app name is suppose test app, and then the master. Here you provide your cluster URL. So the cluster currently I'm going to use a local one only, but it could be your Mesos or the Hadoop yarn, or it could be the standalone. So whatever you have in your organization, you try that. So that's fine. So let's define your this time local only. We're going to use a local get or create it. Okay. Once we have it, it's showing a star here, so it's taking some time to create. Okay. So it's giving some error. Dot app name test app dot master. Okay, the issue is here. Okay, let's try again. Yeah, so it has been sorted, I think. You can check it. Just write the Spark, and you can see that Spark context object is ready. Version 3.3.0. Master is local star test app, right? Okay. So further to read some file, as we have seen that inside this data we have this JSON file here, custom underscore 010.json. So let's try to. Okay, our Sparks is ready, and let's get the data frame using this command spark.read.json, read.json, and the JSON path. Okay. So once I run it, we got the data frame here, and if I try to check how many data frames we have, so it's giving record 75,000. Okay, this file is not having the 1,50,000, it's having the 75,000, but these are enough to play and to check all the Pyspark functions. So further we can check like the print schema, what is our schema is. So you can see here these are the columns available inside the JSON file, which is having these data types. Or if you are simple use the JSON dot columns, then also you can get all the columns here. And in the same way you can also try df underscore json dot describe. So it is just calculating those things. Yeah, so it's telling like it's a data frame, and just telling like these are the types of these columns, right? Okay, now I can also try a few more commands like dot describe and dot show. Describe is a method. Yeah. So now this describe dot show basically giving us like how many record this table is having, their columns, and for each of the, it's giving looking some weird here because it having um, I mean many columns, so which are not fit here actually. Yeah, however I can try something dot select, and if I give some, let's suppose customer ID only, and if I run this command now, so in that way we can understand. Now I'm taking the less column, or you can take, let's suppose, other one as well. So account balance, and you can take some other like customer ID. We already have the customer name, let's suppose. So take the customer name here and just give that here. So okay, yeah. So this one we can understand actually. This command basically giving us a summary like how many customers theirs, the IDs actually. And in the same way the count it is giving here, and this is giving the mean, the dev, the min and max. This is the maximum customer ID or the minimum customer ID. In the same way they are giving these details actually. So yeah, this is something like that. You can use the select command here, like select as we have written above, customer ID dot show. If I writing this like that, it is giving me the first 20 record, but this command will return me exactly, it's returning to me the all of the record. Let's suppose I'm just taking into the another data frame, which is just a customer ID, df customer ID. Let's not use the show here, let's simply use that. If you have df underscore, which is only having the customer ID, and if you count those, so you can see 75,000, mean all the customer ID has been copied into the another data frame. Okay, and let's suppose you just want to execute your old one, just the select, and if you provide the customer ID here, so in another way you can use show and give some number here, let's suppose 5, then you would see only 5 records are coming, top 5 records. Okay, so in that way we can apply our methods here. Now one more important thing I'm going to apply, which is called struct field, or the struct types, how to apply those, how to create our own schema, and how we can use that schema with the file data, and how we can use that. So let's try it. So first of all we would require few namespaces here. So from Pyspark.sql dot types we have, and let's import uh, struct field and string type camel key, and we have, I mean, the type is something like a string type. In the same way we have, let's suppose you want to use the integer type, so you have to import integer type. There is one more like struct type we would use. Okay, so we have import these things. Now let's create our schema. The schema is something like you are going to create a define something which you want to apply with the data, and as per your field, given field, the data should be ready. Actually, the frames should be ready. That's something I'm saying. So now we would use this struct field. Actually, it is something like we are defining the data. So let's suppose the first is our customer ID. We are defining here, and obviously it is integer type, right? And I'm defining whether you want null as true or not, so I'm giving a true here, so you can define as per your requirement. So one more field I can take, the struct field, let's suppose is customer name. We have in our JSON file customer name, and that is a string type. Also we can define as true or false, to see your choice. Okay, so data schema is ready. Let's have a uh, final structure. So the final structure would be the struct type we are going to use here, and inside that we are writing fields equal to, we are assigning this data underscore schema. Enter. The file structure is ready here, and after that um, we let's read that data file again and assign this final structure with the schema. So let's suppose I'm creating this, so I'm using the spark.read.json, and we have read this file before, right? So data slash file name is something. Okay, here this is our file, and here we are defining the schema equal to final structure. I think some here, yeah. So df is ready now. So df dot show, if you check it, then let's see. So yeah, here we have the records, and we can check df dot print schema. So yeah, and how many records it has? Again, 75,000 record it having. So in that way, we applied our data schema, you can say, because in many scenarios, what happened, like because this JSON file is having the columns, names, etc., but somewhere when you are reading some files which are not having the proper column names or their types, and that way uh, it's better if you create your own schema and just uh, use that schema for your use. Yeah. Okay, let's check few more thing. Like you can try this df is having this customer ID, let's suppose. So if you apply customer ID and you want to see what is the type of this, so this is sql.column.column. And if you also try type df.select and if I apply a customer ID, and if I check, this is a data frame, right? If I am applying the select on that, few more command we have, let's suppose head. Okay, so if you apply head, like you are getting two records here uh, with like row 1 and 2. You can also apply like head 2, and if you're applying 3, sorry, 0, so you are getting the first one. Okay, now let's apply something like, if you want to give new name to this customer name, let's suppose you want to give an alias like only name, so you can do that. Use with column, renamed actually with column renamed. Okay, so your column is customer name, and then new name you want to give like name only, and we can try like dot show the 5 records. Okay, so this is something like we just rename the customer name to the name. However, there is no change into this data frame. This is same as this. Okay. If you want to add, let's suppose, a new column with some other calculation, let's suppose, so you can use this new. So suppose this is a new customer ID, new cust ID, and calculation you would perform through this customer ID, and the new one you want to just multiply, or you want to divide it, or you want to perform any of the operation which you want, you can try that. Okay, and what show, suppose standard code we want to see. So here it is. So you have the new cust ID, and which is again we just multiply by 2. Same thing again, I'm saying there is no change into the actual one. It's having the same thing, right? Okay.